So to start, we're adding our lye water solution, room temperature, to our room temperature oils that have been pre-measured out. I master batch my oils, and we're just going to mix that to emulsification, mostly stirring, not a whole lot of actual blending, just to incorporate the lye water solution into the oils. Here we're going to start ciphering out just a little bit of our soap base, not a whole lot, especially not a whole lot of the center one, which will be gray. You guys will not see the actual pour of that color in, but I will list all of the colors below in case you like any of them and you want to purchase them. This one is a copper mica by, I believe, Nurture Soap Supplies. It's really pretty. I am in love with this Crafter's Choice Rose Gold. It looks so pretty. You'll see later on in the video how beautiful that color is. This was a mixture of blues. It was Aqua Pearl by Brambleberry, and I mixed a blue, vibrant blue by Nurture Soap Supplies. And I am hand mixing because I just want to make sure that my room temperature soap stays as pliable, because I'm not sure what's going to happen with this soap once the fragrance oil goes in, because this one I did not pre-test before I worked with it. And that's that beautiful gray steel color. Like I said, I will link that color below. And we are just hand mixing our aqua turquoise blue mixture that we created. I just wanted to make sure with that vibrant blue I added just a smidge more blue, just to make sure that it was that turquoise I was looking for. And this color came out really pretty. It's actually a mixture I like to use now with the little blue bar as well. So I added a little bit of titanium dioxide just to brighten it up just a little bit. And of course, you know, you have to mix in titanium dioxide to get a true color. Our Brambleberry turquoise from the Gemstone collection, it smells absolutely gorgeous. Just adding that to each of the soaps and giving it a quick blend, just zapping it just really quickly, mostly stirring, not a whole lot of actual blending. Hand mixing the colors, the smaller colors, because they're smaller, and when you have less soap, whether it's room temperature or not, sometimes it can start to firm up on you quickly. Our initial pour is of course the turquoise blue color. Now what I was trying to do here, my plan in my head was to just kind of create almost a drop swirl effect. And so as you will see, I dropped just a little bit of color because I wanted to kind of create veining a little bit. And then we will kind of mix it a little bit. As you can see, I'm hoping to kind of push that color down into the rest of it. I'm shaking it, and then you will see me kind of do a spoon swirl almost to create a little bit more of a little more movement in the soap. And now we're going to dust the top of this and create a mica line with that beautiful rose gold color, trying not to add too much because I don't want there to be separation in the bar. When you use it over time, sometimes that can happen when you over sprinkle your mica. Now this is when I start to realize that my soap base is actually starting to thicken up pretty quickly. So you'll see me start to kind of move a little bit more quickly with my pours, because I just really don't want, I want it to stay fluid enough where I can create that drop swirl. As you can see, it's starting to firm up, and the colors played a part in how quickly each of the soaps kind of firmed up. So I'm kind of now resorting to scooping it in, but I'm trying to continue with the same method where I And I really think that if I would have kind of gone deeper here with my swirling, I would have gotten a little bit more of a swirl inside of the soap, because there is, you will see in the cut, there is a little bit of actual, it almost reminds me a little bit, especially with the first couple cuts, or the first cut, it reminds me of camos and heels, the way that I create camos and heels. So kind of almost gave that blotchy kind of, just a lot of color in one spot. So that's one thing I learned from making this soap. Continuing with the same method, and of course, as you can see, I'm now resorting to scooping because it is getting thicker and thicker and thicker. And I really wanted to be careful with the amount of, I think I probably added a little too much soap base to my coppers, because I just didn't want it to become too coppery, but sometimes you can see like coppers and almost like browns, deeper browns within the veining of a turquoise gemstone. So I really was trying to mimic that, but unfortunately I think I got a little bit happy with the amount. I literally only needed a tiny bit. Look how beautiful that copper, I'm sorry, that Crafter's Choice Rose Gold is. It's just a really pretty, super sparkle. Now this is our last layer, and I'm adding the turquoise to the top, and as you can see how thick it has gotten to at this point. It's still workable. It's not soap on a stick by any means, but I definitely learned a valuable lesson with the creation of this soap that you will see in the next video. Some things I learned that I did differently so I can maximize the fluidity and the time frame of this soap. This soap was also made with vanillin, and as you all know, with vanillin, there's 1% vanillin in this, and I did not use a vanilla stabilizer. That ultimately, I think, affected the color of the soap as well, because vanilla will turn your soap brown. It's just aesthetics. It's definitely, there's nothing wrong with the actual soap, but can definitely change it to a brown color. Now we're at the point where our soap base is at a great thickness, and so I'm trying to quickly get it plopped into the mold, hoping to kind of create an array of those colors on the top in a swirl. And this is where I think my soap really went wrong, was by the time I got to the top of this. In this soap, I wouldn't say that it was terrible, and actually there were some beautiful elements that I liked once I cut the soap. But it was definitely more challenging than my initial plan for it. And you know, sometimes that happens, especially when you don't test out your fragrance oil beforehand. Now, as you can see here, this is when it gets very clumpy. And at this point, it's no longer giving me that smooth finish. And so I've kind of given up on that whole swirl. And now I'm just trying to create some sort of smoothing texture to it so that I can add the rose gold to the top. And I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I have resorted to a spoon at this point. And as you guys can see, it's kind of lumpy. But I'm trying to save it because the base of it, it poured well. It poured well enough for it to be an acceptable bar. So I'm trying to save the top so that I don't have to completely cut it off And I've opted, of course, to add that rose gold super sparkle to the top of it, which actually came out really pretty. That was probably my favorite mistake. My favorite part. And that wasn't initially what my goal was for the top of this soap. But it worked out. And it actually made, I took this away. Look how beautiful. So I had to do a quick vlog because what you guys just saw. You guys, if you could have seen my face during the making of that soap, I was getting so frustrated. And you know, I know exactly what happened. And sometimes, you know, what you plan just doesn't really work out the way that you thought it would. If you ever wondered, you know, if more seasoned soapers make mistakes, yeah, pretty much. That was, I think that might have been, well, we'll see if it's the ugliest soap I ever made, because yeah, I will give you guys a part 2 on this, and I kind of rethought my process and what I think I'm gonna do. Yeah, because that wasn't it. We'll see what the cut looks like tomorrow, and then we will, and when you guys see this video, you may even see, I might even put the cut with the actual video itself. We'll see. But yeah, I'll give you guys a part 2, and hopefully my new thought process on what I could do differently. Yeah, I mean, it smells beautiful. It really is a beautiful fragrance. So we'll see. I'll redo it. We'll see. Thanks, guys. Bye. Okay, so it's time to cut, and as you guys can see, it has turned a jade green, a weird green color. And the camel kind of feel that you see there, that's what I mean. It just gave a lot of color in certain spots as opposed to a swirled kind of feel. Some of the bars actually, the swirl is really pretty, and it's not there's not a concentration of color in one spot and some, and then there's some veining that I really liked, and I think that had a lot to do, of course, with the swirling. So I think if I would have gone deeper with the swirling, I probably would have gotten a much better result with this bar outside of the actual green color. The green color is the reason why this soap, well, the green color in the top were the reason why this soap was a fail for me. It's not super unattractive, but it definitely wasn't the design I was going for, the colors that I was going for. And that one's a good one. And this next one coming up is also a pretty good one. I like how the colors kind of play into one another.